script called Surviving Samsara, which is about my journey of recovery. This is called Joy. I was at a house party celebrating Canada Day when I met a woman named Joy. I said, "It's a joy to meet you, Joy." She beamed at me, then said, "I am manic depressive." At once the conversation dried up, not knowing what to say, made an excuse. I had to call my girlfriend a lie. I avoided her, staying upstairs while she waited lost in the party below. She reminded me of a dog I once had, always happy to see me jumping and licking my face. Overwhelmed by its affection, I fled upstairs, afraid to come down. Eventually, my mother lost her patience. "Okay, we'll give him away to the SPCA." She made me accompany her. I carried the dog in my arms. It looked at me beside his eyes, wavering on the brink of tears. He spoke to me. "Don't leave me." I swear, I did not imagine it. By the time I arrived at the SPCA, I said to my mom, "Mom, I changed my mind, I want to keep him." "No, after all the trouble you've caused me dragging me all the way here, you don't deserve a dog." This is the way I feel every time I head back to the psych ward, an obedient dog crying to God, "Don't leave me." I'm sorry, Joy. I was afraid. I didn't understand until I too was diagnosed 8 years ago. Diagnosed manic depressive 8 years ago on Valentine's Day of all days. I used to believe that the mentally ill were weak and felt sorry for themselves. Now it hurts hearing the same words coming out of other people's mouths. Yeah, they just enjoy lying in bed, staying depressed all day long. I almost punched him. The mentally ill must be stronger, braver, more street smart just to get through the day. You have to be a survivor. Your life is 10 times worse than drugs. So be careful what you say, for what you really fear is, if you dig deep enough, is that we are all crazy when you try to hide it. Take 2 steps backwards and fall into the abyss. Reality is, we are all standing on the precipice. So be wary of what you say. So for one day you might find yourself in my shoes, the victim of your own prejudices. A number of years ago, I literally slept 3 or 4 years of my life away. I slept 16 to 20 hours, and I would get up just to go to the Coast Foundation for a dollar lunch or to the Kettle Friendship Society, and it wasn't a life. I gained 60 pounds, and I became a professional mental patient. I became institutionalized, and this is a story about that. It's called Disability, Disability. My father drives to our evening swim at Templeton Pool. Driving is a strain on my father, who suffers from Parkinson's. I am afraid of driving. Something else I can add to the growing list of things I feel guilty about. My vocabulary is punctured with the words "I can't," as in I can't do this, I can't work, I can't function, I can't remember, I can't forget. My father slides the car into the disabled parking lot. We wade through the mundane sameness of our days. I stand under the shower enjoying the hot jet of water drumming my brain. Recovering from a psychotic episode, I feel lobotomized, slowly reclaiming whatever little piece of mind I have left. Surrounded by naked older men, my body is younger than theirs, but my illness has aged me. My soul is old and tired, my mind gone to seed. Dullness, I tell myself, is good for me. The mindless meditative laps back and forth the pool free my mind from the ceaseless treadmill of habitual worrying that has become my life. I join my father in the sauna, sweating away in a cloud of steam. I meet Sean, a teacher from Ireland who frequents the pool. Sean has a story for me. Two guys in wheelchairs meet in a pub. They have a friendly conversation. One wheels away, stands up and does dance to the amusement of his friends. His wheelchair act is just a practical joke. The wheelchair-bound guy watches and amused and summons him over. The guy saunters over. The guy in the wheelchair grabs him by the collar and beats the living shit out of him! Sean leans in. Never pretend to be disabled to someone who is truly disabled. He has called my bluff. I am exposed as a fraud. Cowering in the shadows, I seek refuge in my sickness, blaming society for my fears. I've had enough of my hard luck stories, sick to death of my self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, going on and on and on about my mental health. My father doesn't allow his Parkinson's to stop him from living. Need to find the everyday courage to keep on keeping on. To know the world, you have to embrace it, especially on days you can't bear face it. These days I take on too much to prove to myself what I can do with this ability. There's nothing I can't do within my limitations, and most limitations are imaginary. I go back to school. I volunteer, facilitate wellness workshops. I do peer support work. Eventually I get a job as a mental health worker at a mental health drop-in center where I used to be a client. I started making documentary films again. I do everything I can trying to make up for my previous low self-esteem, and I burn myself out. I now realize the key is balance. I don't have to prove myself to anybody, not even myself. I need to remind myself that I contribute in the way I know how, as best as I can, for I am born outside normalcy, beyond the confines of conformity, beyond honoring the work I do. I honor my abilities and myself. I am not a prisoner of my fears anymore. I am free.